The sound you hear is summer thunder from boiling black storm clouds glowering down on the choppy, windswept sea. This is the start of Octoberpod.
It's hard for me to believe now, but there was a time I was a tiny house blogger. A fairly successful one, too. The whole project earned me sponsors, paid promotion deals. I got so much free stuff, and a steady stream of income from selling my own merch. But more than that, it gave me an intense feeling of personal accomplishment. I mean, I never in a million years would have guessed that I could build my own house, even a tiny one. This terrible thing that happened to me, this story I'm about to tell you, is the reason why I deleted my blog and any evidence that I was ever a tiny house influencer.
Tiny House Haunting. Written and researched especially for Octoberpod by Amber Jourdan. Inspired by true events. Narrated by Tara, co-host of 3 Spooked Girls and Social Séance Society.
Finding the property was easy. It doesn't take much land to build an off-grid tiny house on. It just has to be pretty far away from town where you'd be subject to building code restrictions, municipal water and sewer, and the like. A little plot of land overlooking the ocean wasn't too tough to find at a good price, but we're not talking Daytona Beach. I mean, this wasn't prime oceanfront real estate. The land was rough as a cob before I started the build. And even after I was done clearing out the brush, it was just a tiny wooded spot on a hill with a tiny view of the water. It was about 1/10 of an acre, right on a wooded hill that looked down at the dunes, a small strip of beach just beyond. It was perfect, and I chronicled it all, step by step, on my blog. Note, if you think it's unlikely that I'll find a hill overlooking the ocean in Georgia or the Carolinas, you're right. If I explained the geography of the build site, it would be very easy for someone to figure out where the house stood based on other details in the story. And I don't want anyone doing that, so I've taken some creative liberties with the geography. Trust me, it's for your own good. After clearing out the brush and pulling up some stubborn tree stumps, I began, with the help of some carpenter friends, building the house. Due to the remoteness of the property, it would have been hell getting a cement truck out there, and the quality of the soil. We built a pier and beam foundation using concrete paving stones. The downside to this type of pavement was that it left the house vulnerable to the elements and pests underneath. But we were careful to use water and mold-resistant materials and to put down tight skirting. We also sealed and insulated the hell out of the floor. The rest of the home was built entirely out of reclaimed and recycled materials. Since I was building a tiny house with a tiny ocean view, I thought it'd be cute to use old materials from an old shipwreck. Most of the wood came from an old crab fishing boat that found its way to a salvage yard. It was difficult to find any lumber out of that old wreck that hadn't succumbed to damp and rot. But my house wasn't going to be more than 450 to 500 square feet, so I didn't really need that much wood. Now, the windows, along with a few other details, were another story. They were these gorgeous portholes from a ship that sank in the Atlantic over 200 years ago. Those weren't found at the scrapyard. An antique dealer friend of mine got them for me, and I paid a lot less for them than what they were worth. In fact, I crowdfunded a lot of the money I used to pay for these antique building materials. That ship, the one where I got the antique portholes, was the Retribution, a ship with a long history. For much of its long life at sea, it was used to transport textiles to various ports in Georgia and the Carolinas. But early on, it had transported slaves to Charleston. Now, I did have some reservations about using parts from a slave ship in my tiny house. In retrospect, I should have had many serious reservations about it, but I figured that if I donated a portion of the blog's ad revenue to the Southern Poverty Law Center, it would help me sleep at night. You know, with a clear conscience. At least, that's what I thought. Like many tiny homes, a lot of the furnishings and storage were built-ins. But I did need a few pieces here and there, so I went with some remarkable nautical-inspired pieces from a local artist. Actually, let's not share her real name. Everyone kept asking me how a tiny house works. Like, if I had enough room to lie down, how many people can fit in it at one time. So I wrote a blog post a few weeks after all the construction was completed, and that served as a virtual tour. The front door was recovered from the wheelhouse of the Retribution. Inside the entryway, there was a built-in storage rack for coats, hats, bags, and keys. Because of the way the house was insulated, this was a slightly recessed area, so you could easily walk past everything hanging without getting snagged on a hook. And yet, I always managed to catch myself up, as if some unseen fingers were grasping at my scarf. I wore scarves all the time in those days. In the main living space, there was a small love seat, a custom piece that crafted for the space. And across from that was a wall-mounted flat-screen TV. The TV was mounted on a swivel, so I could watch TV nearly anywhere in the house. A half wall separated the living room area from the kitchen. I had a couple of bar stools set up against that half wall and used the surface for eating meals or working on my laptop. Now, my favorite thing about the kitchen was the antique cast iron wood-burning cook stove. I was able to purchase it thanks to crowdfunding and my antique dealer friend. It was a thing of true beauty and coordinated perfectly with the kitchen cabinets. The cabinets, like most of the house, were built with lumber reclaimed from the old crab boat. But the beautiful cabinet doors were repurposed materials from the Retribution. The funny thing was that almost every evening, right around sundown, one of the cabinet doors would creak open. At the time, I blamed it on the humidity warping the wood. A narrow staircase along the TV wall, which doubled as built-in storage for books, CDs, DVDs, craft supplies, and my winter boots, led to the lofted bedroom. It was something like a 3/4 loft, with just enough headroom for me to walk around on my knees. I kept that space very minimalist: a mattress, 2 low nightstands with storage for folded clothes, and a reading lamp. My favorite feature of the loft was a skylight made from one of the portholes from the Retribution. I had my cousin, who's very handy, rig it up so I could open the window on warm nights. I can't tell you how thrilled I was to be able to go to sleep every night and look up at the stars. The loft was open to the rest of the house except for the nautical cargo net I installed in lieu of safety railing. This promoted airflow and allowed me to see the entire length of the first floor from my bed. Now here's the point where everyone's asking me, but what about the bathroom? Well, gentle listeners, I elected to build an outhouse a few steps away from where I could take a tinkle when listening to the crashing waves. This was an off-grid cabin, remember? So there was no water line, and I wasn't going to go digging a well. I know it sounds primitive, but believe me, it was the nicest, most glamorous, sweetest-smelling outhouse you could ever hope to take a dump in. I always kept a bucket of cedar chips on hand to cover in deodorized fresh deposits. And because it rarely ever gets cold in this part of the country, I also built an outdoor shower stall to utilize rainwater I could collect. That's right. All of the water I used for washing and gardening was rainwater. But I brought jugs of drinking water from town, and the entire house was solar-powered, though I did have a gas-powered generator as well, just for emergencies. I loved living in my little dream home, at first. I never thought I would get used to the sound of crashing waves in the distance, but after 2 or 3 days, I couldn't sleep without it. However, the sound of sand tapping on the windows was something I could do without. There was also a pervasive dampness inside that house, even though I ran a dehumidifier at all times. It was as if my house is a cabin on a ship in the middle of the ocean. Living by the sea, I was constantly feeling a chill creep into my bones, even on the warmest, muggiest days. I swear sometimes I felt like the house swayed like a boat on the sea. Even on days when the air was still, I'd swear I could still feel the house drifting back and forth on an ocean current. Building a new house, even a tiny one, really depleted my walking around money. So trips to the local branch of the library or the County Maritime History Museum became major and free sources of entertainment for me. I became obsessed with combing through old periodicals or whatever I could find to piece together the history of the Retribution. I'd say that between checking out all of the Patricia Cornwell and Sharon McCrum novels I could get my hands on, I spent a good 8 months researching the mysterious ship that became my tiny house. One of the workers, or historians, or whatever, at the Maritime History Museum pointed me to the 1826 memoir of an abolitionist named Constance Hockett, who wrote briefly about the retribution and its role in transporting slaves. "Children of Christ," she wrote, "I implore you to support the abolishment of slave trade. Do not let the grievous sins of enslavement darken our souls for yet another generation." Sadly, I could not find any more words written by Constance Hockett. Other historical records, again pieced together with the help of the Maritime History Museum and the periodicals on microfiche, helped me piece together what little was known about Constance Hockett. She was disowned by her father, Samuel Ogden Hockett, the owner of a profitable textiles concern, and a possible stake in the ownership of the retribution itself. Constance apparently witnessed with her own eyes the gruesome treatment of the enslaved people who had been shipped to Charleston, like so many bolts of cotton, wool, and linen aboard the retribution. This undoubtedly informed her staunch abolitionist views, though her memoir did not recount what she saw in any detail. However, other records from the time are clear that the beating, torture, and rape of enslaved people were commonplace. Now, during the 8 months or so I was reading up on Constance Hockett and the history of the retribution, I noticed the escalation of the strange happenings I mentioned earlier. Cabinet doors that don't shut properly, the odd summertime chills, and the eerie feeling of dampness. Remember that sound I told you about? It sounded like sand tapping against the windows. That continued, but I only ever heard it at night. It's odd. There were days when a storm would be brewing and gusts of wind would be rocking the house from side to side. Honestly, there were a few times when I was worried the wind would blow the house away. But even when the wind whipped up like that, I couldn't hear the tapping. One night, I had just cleared away my supper dishes. I heard that sound and I stuck my head out the door to see how hard the wind was blowing. Nothing. The air was utterly still. As time passed, the noise started to sound less like sand and more like fingernails tapping on glass, or scratching away at the splintered timbers. Sometimes I'd come home from the library or pick up some takeout and I'd find all the cabinet doors open, not slightly ajar, wide open, as if it was some big gust of air or gushing water had exploded out of them. But all of my food and dishes and cookware were undisturbed. Now, this is something I explained away as poor craftsmanship. I mean, I built most of the house with my own 2 hands, and I'm by no means a carpenter. I have a couple of trail cams that I set up from time to time to see what kind of critters may like to come visit the property when I was not around. And one night, I set up one of the trail cams inside the house and pointed it at the kitchen cabinets before I went to bed. When I woke up, all of the cabinet doors were shut tight. I told myself I had been foolish to try to film them. So after breakfast, I took the trail cam and set it up on the back wall of the outhouse, where I usually put it. And when I came back inside, and I couldn't have been out there longer than 15 minutes or so, I saw that every single cabinet had been opened. There were other nights I'd been walking from the front door to the kitchen. Remember, it was a tiny house, so no more than a few steps. Or climbing the narrow steps up to the loft, and I'd catch sight of something out of the corner of my eye. Something like a shadow, or a reflection of a person, or the shape of a person, out of the corner of my eye. If it was a reflection, it was always reflected on the glass on one of those porthole windows. So I always assumed that I was just catching the sight of my own reflection, or my own shadow, and just getting spooked. Remember how I told you about how we had taken one of those portholes and rigged it up as a skylight over the bed? On this one particular night, it was very warm and very humid, and I couldn't sleep. So I sat up in bed and opened the skylight to let in some fresh air. As I was messing with the latch, I saw the whites of 2 human eyes staring down at me. I screamed and jumped down from the loft to make sure that all of the windows were closed and that the front door was locked and bolted. Then I called 911 and they sent a squad car up to the house because I believed there was an intruder prowling around on the roof. It took the cop forever to arrive. But of course, when he didn't find anybody on the property or any sign of anyone ever being there. Then he asked me if my motion sensor lights had turned on when I saw the eyes. I said no, they hadn't come on all night. The cop just kind of laughed and shrugged and said, "If there was anybody up there, they'd have tipped those motion sensor lights. I, therefore, must be dreaming. Case closed." And that seemed possible enough. I mean, when I list all of the weird phenomena out like I just did, it looks like a pattern. But as it was all happening in a slow trickle over 6 to 8 months, it seemed very easily explained away as nerves or nightmares, or an overreactive imagination going nuts in a house that wasn't very well built. But then things escalated to a point that all the mundane explanations seemed silly. Now I'll tell you about the last night I stayed in my tiny home overlooking the sea. I found myself at the library at closing time, and when I left, the clouds were building outside. Deep, dark, impenetrably black clouds. I knew that I needed to book it if I wanted to get home before the sky opened up. Luckily for me, the downpour didn't start until after I was inside the door. The wind kicked up and the house began swaying in the storm, and that odd sensation of being on a boat rocking at sea returned to me. I started a series of blog posts on the history of my house, or rather, the history of its reclaimed building materials, and wanted to jot down some notes before my next post. I looked up from my laptop screen from time to time to stare at the ceiling, at the corners where the walls met. I thought I could see the angles change before my eyes, but that was ridiculous. Yet I could feel the house swaying in the wind, and I could feel the walls expanding or contracting like a ribcage of an animal as it breathes. Then came the chill. In the middle of July. The sky kept growing blacker and blacker. Great big blobs that doubled in on themselves over and over as far as the eye could see, broken from time to time by flashes of lightning. Ghostly fingers of electricity that raked across the sky to caress the surface of the water. I never expected that downsizing my life would lead to something this weird. I watched the rolling waves while avoiding my work. It was hypnotic, and I slowly nodded off to sleep. Sometime later, it could have been hours or only minutes, I snapped awake. Something had startled me, but I had no idea what. When the storm began, I had lit a candle and placed it on the kitchen counter. When I woke up, all of the lights were off except for that flickering candle. I remember that I looked up to nothing but shadows dancing on the ceiling from that flickering candle. It was strange. This candle, one of the summer teawood candles from Bath & Body Works, had a strong, distinctive smell. But even though it had been burning for God knows how long, I couldn't smell it. I could only detect a faint smell of smoke and the dank, overwhelming, salty, swampy stank of the ocean. In all the time I had lived in that house, I had never gotten an unpleasant ocean smell, and certainly not that strong. The clouds had finished rolling in, and the storm was raging in full force. I felt a hand grip my arm tight. I didn't know what to do. I was too terrified to move or to speak or to even breathe. I felt as though I was rocking back and forth in an old wooden rocking chair, or like rocking back and forth on the ocean. Amid the sound of the wind and rain and thunder and the roar of the crashing surf, I heard sounds. Sounds like men shouting. I also thought I heard other voices, sad voices, speaking something that sounded like Creole French. Don't ask me how I know, because I don't speak Creole or French. I just had a feeling. It felt like I had sat frozen for 5 minutes, but it had only been a second. Perhaps even only a fraction of a second. I finally mustered the courage to turn my head. There was no one holding my arm, but the grip of whatever it was seemed to tighten. It was so tight that I could feel my arm start to tingle. Then there was a shift in the air, and the frame of the candle began to flicker and dance. And that's when I saw it. On the far end of the house, dozens of people huddled in the darkness, in the shadows, their wide, unblinking eyes fixed on me. They were naked and packed in tightly together in a corner that was impossibly small. Too small for that many people. Their badly scarred, deep brown skin glistened with sweat, seemed to form a wall of flesh that didn't move, except to breathe. Then the light of the candle shifted, and the thing gripping my arm released me, and the people watching from the darkness disappeared. I bolted up from my seat and snatched my keys and my purse, which were hanging on the hook next to the door, and bolted through the storm to my car. I was barefoot, in my PJs, and not even wearing a bra. I started up the car and peeled out, kicking up gravel as my wheels spun, and drove through the storm all the way to Walmart, where I spent the night sleeping in my car. Thank God my phone was still in my purse. When the storm finally died down, I called my cousin and asked him to go back to the house with me. When we got there, we saw that I had left in such a hurry that I left the door wide open. I packed up all my shit in the light of the day, with my rather perplexed cousin there to protect me. Then I left my tiny dream home by the sea and never returned. Not by myself anyway, and never alone. No, never alone. And that's the story of my tiny house haunting. Oh, well, there is a PS to the story. I sold the tiny house to someone in the area who owned a number of vacation properties. They converted the tiny house into an Airbnb, and from what I understand, it made them quite a bit of money for a time. A year, maybe 2 years later, I heard that somebody rented it a week to attend a wedding. The landlord found this person dead, sitting on the bar stool and slumped over the half wall that doubled as an eating space. They said that this person had drowned to death, drowned in a bowl of soup. That's when I decided to delete my blog and anything I had written online about the tiny house. I didn't want anyone to know about it. Not on my account, anyway.
It's intermission time, folks. Between the acts of Octoberpod, you can normally find me munching face at a drive-in snack bar. But today, I'd like you to join me at a peaceful rose garden in the English countryside. Beautiful rose bushes line a narrow stone walkway leading to an outdoor seating area where afternoon tea is served. Why don't you join me for cucumber sandwiches, pedophores, and a hot cuppa? All is right with the world, and the garden is neat as a pin. Well, except for that pile of dirt over there. Some of the roses have been dug up. In fact, there's a ditch in the garden, about 6 feet deep and broad enough to conceal a dead body. You know, a good English rose garden tends to remind me of British actor and horror film icon Peter Cushing, a man who, by all accounts, was as graceful as a rose and a truly gentle man. And whenever I think of Peter Cushing and roses, my mind turns to his contribution to the 1972 Amicus horror anthology, Tales from the Crypt, based upon the gruesome EC Comics series of the same name. And fair warning, from here on out, there be spoilers.
Death lives in Tales from the Crypt, rated PG.
Cushing appears in the film's third segment called Poetic Justice as a kindly old widower named Arthur Grimsdyke, one of several character names that the Amicus film de-Americanized. Grimsdyke is what the Brits would call a dustman, who loves entertaining the neighborhood children and giving them toys that he's made from salvaged materials. He loves the children, and the children love him, but the neighbors across the street do not love him. The wealthy, entitled, and decidedly prissy Elliots, a father-son duo who, when I rewatched the film to write this segment, I assumed were a May-December gay couple, and wouldn't that be an edgy twist on this story, find Grimsdyke's rustic home to be an eyesore, and Grimsdyke himself to be an undesirable character. So the younger Elliot embarks on a campaign to get rid of Grimsdyke. First, he digs up another neighbor's rose bushes and frames Grimsdyke's dogs for the deed, who were quickly removed from his care. Then, the Elliots invite the neighborhood moms over for tea, insinuate that Grimsdyke is some sort of pervert, and as a result, the children are forbidden from visiting the kindly old man ever again. Now, these two tactics would probably break the spirit of just about any lonely old man. But poor Grimsdyke takes comfort in communicating with his late wife, Helen, with the aid of automatic writing and a spirit board. Old Grimsdyke can't afford the brand name Ouija board, so he has to make do with a cardboard DIY facsimile. The Elliots' final gambit is to send Grimsdyke a stack of mail on Valentine's Day. But the Valentines aren't from the neighborhood children. These Valentines are anonymous hate mail, with poems telling the old man that he stinks and should go drown himself in the river. The old man takes these messages to heart, pun fully intended, and after ensuring that his home is spotless, hangs himself. The following year, on Valentine's Day, the younger Elliot is lounging by the fire and finds a valentine at the bottom of his desk drawer. That's odd. And then, the undead corpse of Arthur Grimsdyke rises from the grave to exact his revenge on the cruel young man. Cushing's makeup here is truly iconic and can often be seen reproduced in reference books, on VHS box art, and movie posters. The next morning, the young man's father discovers his dead son bloodied and slumped over his desk. Next to the body is a poem, written in blood, and enclosed in the paper on which the poem was written is the young man's still beating heart. As the crypt keeper might say. The story Poetic Justice first appeared in a 1952 issue of Haunt of Fear, and aside from changing some names, the Amicus version is pretty faithful to the source material. As an aside, Tales from the Crypt has always been my least favorite of EC's big three horror books. I've always preferred Vault of Horror and Haunt of Fear to Crypt, and consider their hosts, the Vault Keeper and the Old Witch, respectively, to be superior to the blue-robed comics incarnation of the Crypt Keeper. Poetic Justice is easily one of the most memorable segments of this anthology, but I've never really liked it, and I have a tendency to skip it whenever I rewatch the film. Why? Well, it has nothing to do with quality. After all, it's anchored by one of Peter Cushing's best performances. I just find it more sad and pathetic than fun and thrilling. The dour tone, the muted color palette, and drab early 70s fashions, not to mention the perpetually gray English weather, are partly to blame here. Contrast all that with the vivid primary colors of its EC Comics source material. If Tales from the Crypt had been realized in the over-the-top visual and performance style of, say, George A. Romero's Creepshow, then Poetic Justice might feel a lot more fun. And while the younger Elliot's death is easily the best kill of the film, though the heart used, probably a beef heart from the local butcher, is way too big to fit in that dude's chest, it's a lot better than he deserves, and it happens largely off-screen. I'd love to see both the father and son get their comeuppance in a Tom Savini-designed gore fest, but that's beside the point. No, what makes this segment equally depressing and poignant is a warm, loving, pathetic, and lived-in performance from horror legend Peter Cushing. To start with, he's cast against type. Grimsdyke is not a confident, dynamic man of science and reason that we're used to seeing Cushing play. Men like Van Helsing, Dr. Frankenstein, Sherlock Holmes, or even Doctor Who. No, he's just a lonely old man mourning the love of his life. And he looks old. Cushing was only in his late 50s when this was filmed, but as Arthur Grimsdyke, emaciated with white stubble on his sharp features, he could easily pass for a man in his 70s. When, in Poetic Justice, we discover Grimsdyke's body hanging from a rafter, it is represented by an image of his white stockinged feet dangling with one slipper on and one slipper off, underscoring the fact that Peter Cushing has never looked quite so vulnerable or so fragile. This dramatic change in Cushing's appearance was due to the fact that he had recently lost his wife, also named Helen, and was so devastated that his own health suffered. Cushing was almost morbidly devoted to Helen, and once said in a 1972 Radio Times interview,
"Since Helen passed on, I can't find anything. The heart, quite simply, has gone out of everything. Time is interminable. The loneliness is almost unbearable. and the only thing that keeps me going is the knowledge that my dear Helen and I will be reunited again someday. To join Helen is my only ambition. You have my permission to publish that. Really, dear boy, it's all just killing time. Please say that.
The story goes that when Helen died of emphysema, Peter Cushing was so distraught that he began to run up and down the stairs, perhaps in a subconscious attempt to induce a heart attack. When recounting the story, Cushing stated that he'd never actually attempt to take his own life. This may be thanks to a poem Helen had written to him on her deathbed, a poem which urged her husband to push through his grief and live his life as fully as possible. Of course, during Helen's illness and immediately following her death, Peter Cushing's acting career took a back seat. Cushing was originally cast to play Egyptologist Julian Fuchs in Blood from the Mummy's Tomb, opposite Valerie Leone, but pulled out after one day of shooting when Helen took ill. The role would be recast with Quatermass and the Pit star Andrew Keir, but the production of that picture was truly jinxed. As Valerie Leone once put it, the original director, Seth Holt, died of a heart attack a mere week before shooting was to wrap. Hammer producer Michael Carreras had to complete the film himself, with middling results as can be expected. That's a story for another time. After Helen's passing, Cushing, with some well-intentioned prodding from frequent co-star and close personal friend Christopher Lee, threw himself into his work as a distraction from the crippling grief.
Mercifully, I am very busy, and film plans at the moment stretch well into the new year. I recently appeared in Tales from the Crypt for Amicus, then followed Dracula today with Christopher Lee for Hammer, and I am currently working on another film for them entitled Fear in the Night. As soon as I completed that, I go to Spain to make Horror Express, again with Chris Lee, and we both return in early 1972 to be teamed together in The Creeping Flesh for Romany Films. There is a future film for Hammer, no date or title yet, dealing with the life of Bram Stoker, who wrote the novel Dracula. I think he will be playing Stoker and I will be cast as Sir Henry Irving, the great actor of a past era. It helps so much to have the mind so well occupied, because time and longing can be interminable and intolerable, and I find the work of make-believe an easier one to bear.
In Tales from the Crypt, Grimsdyke's late wife is named Helen as a tribute to Cushing's own recently deceased wife, and as Grimsdyke's frail fingers fumble longingly over the planchette of his spirit board, it is easy to imagine Cushing himself communicating with his own departed love. And indeed other silent tributes to Helen, usually her photograph, can be found in several of Cushing's 1970s films like Asylum, The Ghoul, and The Creeping Flesh. Actress and Hammer leading lady Veronica Carlson said, in a Blu-ray extra, that Cushing's appearance while filming The Ghoul was skeletal, and that the bereaved actor would often stare at photos of Helen to help him perform his role in the film as a grieving husband. It is a performance which, according to Carlson, led the very professional Cushing to suffer a breakdown, after which he walked off set in tears. Helen Cushing was never far from the great actor's mind for all the remaining years of his life. In 1986, Peter Cushing contacted Jimmy Savile for an episode of the Make-A-Wish-style reality show Jim'll Fix It. And confidentially, if you want a real horror story, just Google Jimmy Savile. But don't do it on your work computer. Cushing asked Fixer Jim to arrange for a new strain of rose to be named after his late wife. And so, a newly cultivated rose, white with pale pink edges, became the Helen Cushing Rose. As you can see, poetic justice with its rose imagery and themes of heartache and grief perfectly encapsulates Peter Cushing's long years of deep mourning. In 1994, after a 12-year cancer battle, Peter Cushing finally achieved his one last ambition: to be reunited with his long-lost love. I'd like to thank Adam Turner, our friend from Diabolical Podcast, for serving as the voice of Peter Cushing in this segment. Additionally, I'd like to extend my gratitude to Anthological Podcast for affording me the opportunity to explore this fascinating chapter in the life of one of my horror genre heroes. Well, I don't know about you, but I've gotten my fill of Earl Grey, orange squash, watercress sandwiches, and scones with clotted cream and jam, which is all well and good because our intermission tea time is over. Act 2 of Octoberpod starts now. Our friends from Madison on the Air have returned with their spoof of the sci-fi horror classic, The Day the Earth Stood Still. Listen carefully, and you may recognize the voice of the story's narrator. Let's get to it.
Now Madison was working super hard on a makeup tutorial show. She was teaching smoky eyes to folks out there who really wanted to know when some freaky deaky science stuff only understood by nerds zapped her into old radio shows, the kind you might never have heard. Now she should probably be trying to get out, but Madison, she's having fun living an old-time radio life. Our explanation is done.
Madison is on the air.
The day the earth stood still.
There is an ever-present question that has puzzled and intrigued our world for centuries. Is there life on any of the other planets? So, in tonight's play, we will tell you of a possible momentous event in our near future: the arrival on this planet of someone from outer space. It was a pleasant spring day. There'd been at least 20 such sparkling days that spring, and perhaps 1 billion or more of them since the Earth began. This spring, in the middle of the marvelous 20th century, was different. It was the most different day that had ever happened to mankind.
The ship, designed for travel outside the Earth's atmosphere, landed in Washington, D.C. today at 3:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We still do not know where it came from. The ship is now resting exactly where it landed 2 hours ago. So far, there is no sign of life from inside the ship. Behind the cordon of troops, tanks, and artillery is a huge crowd of curiosity seekers. Every eye, every weapon is trained on the ship. The atmosphere is one of terrific tension rather than of fear. It's been that way for... Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I think something is happening. The spaceship is opening up. Someone is coming out.
Keep calm, everybody. Don't get excited. Keep calm. Quiet.
A wedge is opened in the smooth, unbroken metal skin of the spaceship. A ramp slithers out onto the grass. Against the eerie glow of unearthly light from inside the spaceship stands the space... woman?
Hey, everybody! Yikes, tough crowd. I come in peace. Take me to your leader.
I think she's trying to communicate, but all I can hear are piercing, obnoxious sounds.
Oh, wait! Actually, I have a speech I wrote down. One sec.
She's going for something in her tunic, sir.
Hold your position.
It's a ray gun or something. I'm gonna let her have it.
No, wait.
Jeez, son of a... God dang it.
You fool, she's down. Hold back that crowd. Everybody, back. Your wound doesn't look too bad.
Excuse me, G.I. Joe, if I'd rather have a doctor make that assessment.
She understands us.
Duh. Now who's the douche nozzle who shot me? I want him stripped of his rank. No, I want him stripped of his uniform. Right here, right now. I want him buck naked in front of everybody.
I'm sorry for him shooting you, but you shouldn't have gone for that ray gun.
Ray gun? You just automatically assumed I was going for a gun. Who are you, LAPD?
Again, I'm sorry, but... What? What is that?
Oh, that's Gort.
It looks like a metal baby carriage.
No, he's a food delivery robot. Basically a cooler on wheels.
Food delivery? So it's not a danger.
Well, his AI has been reprogrammed to be my protector, so, if I'm hurt, he attacks.
He zapped that soldier with a bolt of electricity.
It was just his butt. I can watch that all day. But seeing as how I've been shot and starting to black out a little, how about some medical attention?
What about that soldier?
When Gort thinks he's learned his lesson, he'll stop. So, hospital?
Good afternoon, miss.
Now, who are you? I've had every doctor, nurse, intern, candy striper, and janitor in this place come in to gawk at me. I feel like I'm in a zoo. No wonder those pandas in captivity can't make babies. Give us some privacy.
Well, my name is Harley, secretary to the president.
Which president?
The president of the United States.
No, I mean, which president of the United States? Is it one of the good ones?
I think so.
Are you saying that because you believe it? Or if you don't say it, you'll be replaced by someone whose only credentials are that they were a TV show host.
That would never happen.
Oh, the mid-20th century is so adorbs.
The doctors here tell me your wound is not serious.
Merely a flesh wound.
I'm sure I don't have to point out that your arrival was something of a surprise. Naturally, we're very curious to know where you come from.
Let's just say, in the not-too-distant future, in a galaxy far, far away from the final frontier.
So you're from another planet?
For this episode, let's go with it.
What is the reason you've come here?
Like I'm gonna tell you? You're just some errand boy for the president.
Perhaps you'd rather discuss it personally with the president.
OMG, ego much? Why does the United States always think it's the center of the universe?
Then who do you wish to speak with?
Everybody? Like the representatives from all the nations of Earth?
In view of the tensions and suspicions in our world today, such a meeting would be, a little awkward.
Awkward? This isn't a wedding reception where you're trying to figure out the seating arrangements. Oh no, who set Israel next to Iran? What I have to say concerns the existence of every last creature who lives on this earth. So suck it up!
Our problems are very complex. You mustn't judge us too harshly.
Are you mansplaining to me? My little space girl brain can't comprehend just how many stupid people are making stupid decisions on this stupid planet.
The president will, of course, do his best to bring about the meeting you desire. I know it will be quite useless. I wish it were otherwise.
Okay, hang on. Before I make up my mind about how stupid you all are, I think I should, mingle for a few days. Maybe get an idea for why you're all so stupid.
Our military people insist that you do not attempt to leave the hospital.
Oh, you're military people? Like that Gomer Pyle who shot me?
I'm sorry. The decision has been made. This door will be locked. I'm sure you understand. Good day.
The door will be locked. I freaking show up in a spaceship with a robot, and they're all like, this locked door will stop her. Of course, if they had those keycard locks like they do in hotels, that might do it. You end up playing hotel roulette. Come on, green light. Come on, green light. Mama's got to pee. She's been at the bar all night. Ah, red.
The authorities at Walter Reed Hospital still refuse to comment on how she managed to escape, except to say that she broke into a hospital locker and stole clothing belonging to a staff nurse. While the government does not minimize the crisis, it urges people all over the world to remain calm and further advise
Calm,
that the
he
facilities
says.
of all
Just
federal agencies
terrible.
are being brought to bear. We are warned, however, that this is no ordinary manhunt, and we may be up against powers that are beyond our control or understanding, and that
Oh, I just can't stand any more of this.
I wanted to hear more, Mrs. Crockett.
It's exciting, isn't it, Mother?
Exciting, Bobby? It's enough to drive a person... Oh! Who are you?
Sup? I'm Madison. I saw your sign outside and the door wasn't locked in any serious way. I'm looking for a room.
Oh, yes, I do have a nice room. Is it Miss or Mrs. Madison?
Just Madison.
You don't have a first name?
I don't have a prefix that signifies whether or not I'm attached to a man.
Does that mean you're like a spy or something? Did you come here to catch that space woman?
I think we've all been hearing too much about space women, Miss Madison.
Not Miss Madison.
Oh, this is Mrs. Benson, Mrs. Madison.
Not Mrs. Madison.
Golly, what are we supposed to call you then?
Madison.
This is little Bobby, and I'm Mrs. Crockett. You're a long way from home, aren't you, Mrs. Madison?
No, Mrs. Crockett, it's Madison.
Cute kid. He doesn't come out of his room much, does he?
I apologize. Madison.
Okay, fine. Let's go with Miss Madison. At least I can appear unaffiliated.
This way, please. I'll show you to your room.
Thanks.
I can tell you're not from here.
Yeah?
I can spot a Chicago accent every time.
So far, you people are tipping the scale towards stupidity.
And so, this Sunday morning, we ask the question, where is the creature and what is she up to?
Golly, Mom, do you think the space woman eats cereal?
Oh, Bobby, such thoughts you have.
What do you think, Miss Madison? Do you think the space woman eats cereal?
Only to get to the prize at the bottom.
Hey, that's mine!
Don't make me blow up your planet over a plastic whistle.
Oh, listen to what it says here. If the space woman could build a spaceship that can fly to Earth and has a robot that can electrocute soldiers...
Hey, the robot didn't electrocute that soldier. He just got zapped in the butt a couple of times.
I heard he won't be able to sit down for a whole month.
Oh, that's terrible.
You know, he did shoot me. The space woman.
If she could do all that, what other terrors can she unleash at will? They need to track down this monster and destroy her before she destroys us.
I'd like to say your opinion is symptomatic of the Cold War era, but really, humans always want to kill what they don't understand.
I agree with Miss Madison. The space woman, or whatever she is, we automatically assume she's a menace. Maybe she isn't, after all.
Well, then, where is she, Mrs. Benson? What's she up to?
Maybe she's afraid. After all, she was shot the minute she landed here.
There! Yes! Thank you! My point! I promise I'll do my best to spare you. And your kid. Don't touch that whistle!
Aw, gee whiz.
You know, maybe before deciding whether the space woman should blow up the Earth or not, she may want to learn about you 1950s people.
There's nothing strange about Washington.
A person from another planet might disagree with you.
A person with half a brain might disagree with you.
Oh!
It's all right, Mrs. Crockett. That's Mr. Stevens calling for me. I'll go to the door.
And that awful robot, standing there like an ugly iron statue. It gives me the shivers.
I think it looks more like a garbage can on wheels.
Well, do you want to be electrocuted by a garbage can?
I wish I'd brought a Roomba. I think Mrs. Crockett would be like one of those cats that sees a Roomba and then leaps into a ceiling fan trying to escape.
Morning, Tom.
Hello, Helen. We're all set. I picked up some sandwiches and put gas in the car, and the radio is busted, so we can forget about this space woman for the day.
I haven't been able to arrange anyone to stay with Bobby. Mrs. Crockett's going out, and, I don't suppose we could take him with us?
Oh, I guess we could.
Just for today. Mrs. Crockett has plans, and I don't know who else to ask.
Good morning.
Sup?
Oh, Miss Madison, this is my boyfriend, Tom Stevens.
Dating a woman with a kid. Very progressive for the 1950s.
Progressive?
out with someone whose well's already been tapped.
Say, Miss Madison, you wouldn't happen to be available to watch Bobby today, would you?
You literally met me 2 days ago, and you trust me with your child?
You have an honest face.
Suck up.
And an honest tongue.
Please, Miss Madison.
Babysitting. Full disclosure, when I babysat for my little sister, I'd make her play tag.
What's wrong with that?
I'd make her chase me while running with a pair of scissors. And in order to be safe from being tagged, she had to stick them into an electrical outlet. That was the summer she had curly hair.
Well, Helen, I'm sold.
All right, I'll go tell Bobby.
Wow, you really want some alone time with Helen.
Yes.
Widow's put out, huh?
And this is where my father is buried.
You took me sightseeing to a cemetery? What kind of warped little goth kid are you?
Didn't you ever hear of Arlington Cemetery?
I've heard of laundromats, but I don't want to go tour one.
Don't they have cemeteries for wars where you've been?
The only cemeteries I go to screen movies outside. One year, I drank so much hard lemonade, I mistook a mausoleum for a porta potty. Boy, did the Rothschild family have some strong words to say about that.
Hey, that's a good idea. You want to go to the movies?
Movies cost money. All I've got is Apple Pay.
You can't pay with apples.
Don't tell Steve Jobs that.
Well, I've got $2. I'll treat you, okay?
Oh, I know. Here.
Gee, I've never seen a coin like this before. What does the B stand for?
It's a Bitcoin coin.
Wow, it looks like it's worth a lot of money.
Nah, it's just a physical representation of cryptocurrency, which isn't worth anything either, except to rich tech bros who think they're investment savvy and listen to Andrew Tate.
Oh.
You can buy it off of me for that $2.
Sure, it's kind of neat looking.
Okay, so I'll treat us to the movie. Where I come from, $2 won't even get you parking at the theater.
Hey, before we go to the movies, would you like to see the Abraham Lincoln Memorial?
Actually, yeah. I'd like to see all the memorials before Trump slaps his name on them and paints them gold.
Who?
Imagine the Cold War and the Great Depression put together, but with memes.
Okay.
Wait a sec, that makes me think. They won't let me talk to all the heads of the world's nations at once, but what about the world's scientists?
Scientists?
Yeah! When politicians become science deniers, the only smart people left in the room are the scientists. Mainly because they're so wrapped up in science, they don't bother with people-pleasing. Sometimes being socially awkward is an asset.
So, you want to meet a scientist?
Yeah! Who's the smartest scientist you got?
That's Professor Barnhart, I guess. He's the greatest scientist in the world. He lives right here in Washington.
Great! Let's go see Professor Barnhart.
You're kidding, aren't you?
Hey, you dragged me to see your dead dad. The least you could do is take me to a living scientist.
I like you, Miss Madison. You're a real screwball.
Screwball? Ooh, screwdrivers. Let's stop at a bar on the way. I got $2 now, and Miss Madison is thirsty.
Gee, maybe the professor isn't at home. Miss Madison, what are you doing?
Trying to open the door.
But it's locked.
Oh, is it?
Well, that's funny.
We'll go in and wait for him. I'm sure he won't mind.
Miss Madison? Did you maybe have too many drinks at the bar?
Hey, who's babysitting who here? That vase was like that when I got here.
Gee, look at this blackboard. Just think of all the brains that goes on in here. What do you suppose all that writing means?
It's a problem in celestial mechanics.
It is?
You don't believe me? Raise your hand if you arrived here in a spaceship.
Maybe we should go home, Miss Madison. You remind me of Mrs. Crockett after her bridge parties.
First, I gotta fix what he wrote here on the board.
Hey, it says don't erase, don't touch.
Okay, let's see. Whoa! He's got letters in his math equations. Ah! What a doof.
I don't think you should be erasing that.
I'm fixing it. Hang on. Where?
You drew a tic-tac-toe board.
I got center X. Your move.
Who are you? How dare you come in like this? How dare you write on that blackboard? Do you realize the professor's been working on that problem for weeks?
Well, I fixed it. Come on, Bobby. It's your turn.
What do you want?
To see Professor Bernhardt.
Barnhart.
Bernhardt.
Barnhart.
Bernhardt.
Barnhart.
I'm pretty sure it's Bernhardt.
Well, he's not here, and he won't be back until evening. I think you'd better leave.
Will you tell him that Madison was here? And get us a cab. I'm in no condition to walk. Bobby, where do we live?
1615 M Street Northwest.
Get your own cab and get out.
Rude. If I had my robot here, your ass would look like charred roast beef. Come on, Bobby. And clean up this broken vase. It's a hazard.
Madison, 1615 M Street Northwest. Madison, 1615 M Street. 1615. Hello, operator? Give me the police.
Well, here we are.
Thank you, Tom. It was a wonderful day.
You still haven't answered my question.
Oh, you know how I feel, Tom, but I still want time to think it over.
If I could only tell the boss I was getting married and acquiring 2 dependents.
How romantic.
What are you doing here? This is a private conversation.
Then don't have it in a convertible.
Oh, hello, Miss Madison. Is Bobby inside?
Yep.
We better get going.
Who's this?
Government guy. But he can't prove I was the one who threw up on the Lincoln Memorial. You guys don't have DNA yet. That could have been anyone's upchunk.
Let's go.
I know my rights.
Good night, sir. Ma'am.
Good night.
Good night.
Gosh darn it.
Okay, that was my puke.
Here's the woman you wanted to see, Professor Barnhart.
You know, you didn't need to kidnap me. You could have just called.
And you didn't need to break into my home. You could have just left a message.
Fair.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. I wish to speak to her alone now.
I'll be outside, Professor, cleaning out my back seat.
You are the one who played tic-tac-toe on my blackboard.
Yeah, but those games are always a draw.
You erased part of my equation in the process.
So, don't you save your work?
It was saved on the blackboard.
All of your gobbledygook didn't make sense anyway.
Actually, you're right.
I am?
I couldn't make sense of the equation until you erased that middle portion. Then I could see I was overthinking it. Thanks to you, I found the solution.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
So, how do you like our planet?
Nice place to visit, but the parking sucks.
So you are the space woman.
More like a time and space woman.
Oh, please sit down. I have several thousand questions to ask you.
Actually, me first. I wanted to talk to you about my mission here, since you're the closest thing the 1950s has to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Ah, your mission. That is my first question.
Okay, since your politicians are total douche nozzles, I decided I should talk to the scientists instead. Because you guys, invented atomic energy, but the politicians are the ones who weaponized it, right?
Yes. The military always has the best funding, unfortunately.
Too bad everything can't be like silly putty. It was created by the government to be an alternative to rubber in World War II, but instead became a hugely popular toy. You know, between that and the Slinky, everyone needs to stop making toys and just give kids repurposed junk to play with. It's the hype that sells it.
What exactly is the nature of your mission?
Oh, yeah, right. It's to warn you that Earth faces danger. I was kind of hoping for a global audience, like during the Super Bowl halftime show. But apparently, you guys are faster at inventing nukes than you are the Super Bowl, which got its name from the kids' toy Super Ball. Seriously, kids can be amused by the simplest crap.
Would you be willing to meet with a group of scientists? We're having our first meeting tomorrow night. Perhaps you could explain your mission to them, and they in turn could present it to their various peoples.
Yeah, that could work.
One thing, suppose this group should reject your proposal. What is the alternative?
The Earth would be obliterated.
Oh my!
No. It's not that bad. Where I come from, we've redefined obliterated to mean it could be dug up and rebuilt.
Such power exists?
Oh, yeah. Earth will be melted down like Velveeta in the microwave.
This power you speak of, the scientists must be made to realize that it exists.
Sure, a little proof of concept.
Perhaps something that would affect the entire planet.
Oh, yeah, I got something good.
A little demonstration, but not destructive.
Not destructive? Okay, gonna need to dip into the think tank on that one.
Could you do it tomorrow morning? Before our meeting in the evening? Say noon?
Let's call it noon-ish. I actually suffer from time blindness. I'm never on time for anything, and calling it a condition means I don't have to take responsibility for my own actions. I also have cleaning blindness, cooking blindness, and paying the bills blindness. It's a burden on other people. Come in. Bobby, you got a flashlight I could borrow?
Oh, sure, Miss Madison. It's a real Boy Scout one.
1950s Boy Scouts? You got a light source that isn't socially and politically problematic?
Huh?
I guess I could use the flashlight on my phone. I was worried about running down the battery, but I can recharge it on my spaceship. Okay, thanks anyway.
Did she just... The Boy Scouts are problematic? I'll show her how good my Boy Scout flashlight is.
Bobby!
Oh, hello, Mrs. Crockett.
What are you doing, trundling down the stairs like a herd of elephants this late at night?
I'm following Miss Madison to her spaceship.
Does your mother know you're out of bed?
I'll tell her when she gets home. Bye!
Well, all right then.
Edith, it's your bid.
I'll be there in a minute. This gin isn't going to fizz itself.
Well, great. They've built a wall around my spaceship and have armed guards. Okay, let's see if I can get Gort's attention.
That's a funny-looking flashlight.
Ah!
Oh, I'm sorry. Did it break?
No, but I think this is the day my heart stood still.
What are you trying to do?
I was trying to signal Gort with the light.
The robot? Why?
To distract the guards so I can get inside my spaceship. See, watch. I flashed the light on the wall in a pattern like this. Ah! Sorry. My boss always calls me at the worst times.
I think the guards heard you.
Oh, crap. Come on, Gort. See the flashlight?
Ah!
It zapped him in the butt.
Ah! Screw the GI Bill. This isn't worth it.
Look, Miss Madison. The guards are running away.
So much for your military defenses. Okay, I got some work to do in my spaceship. I'd invite you in, but the place is a sty. Dirty clothes, dishes everywhere. They give me a robot that will zap people, but where's my robot made?
Well, gee, I don't mind if the place is messy.
Nah, it's late. You better go home.
Okay.
All right, Gort, let's go inside. Gort? Damn it! Somebody knocked him over. Don't blink your little lights at me. I'm coming. This is a serious design flaw. How are we supposed to instill fear in humanity with you just laying on the sidewalk? Well, the same would go for you delivering Thai food.
Thanks again for taking me out, Tom.
How about a thank you kiss?
Mom, listen!
Oh, good. Barbie's here.
Bobby, what are you doing down here at this hour, fully dressed?
Mom, I had to tell you. I followed Miss Madison and, gee, where do you think she went? Right into the spaceship.
Now, Bobby, just 1 minute.
Honest, Mom, I saw her. They got a shed built around the spaceship so nobody can get to it, but Miss Madison flashed a signal to that robot garbage can and it zapped the guard.
Bobby, have you been dreaming again?
No, honest, I promise. I saw it. She was gonna let me inside, but she doesn't have a robot made.
Bobby, I'm sure Miss Madison is asleep upstairs, which is where you should be.
You gotta believe me!
Tom, would you come with us upstairs to show Bobby Miss Madison is in her room asleep?
You know, there are a lot of good boarding schools for boys his age.
What?
Nothing. Let's go upstairs.
I'm telling you, she isn't in her room!
Oh, no? Then who is that snoring?
Mrs. Crockett. Her bridge ladies didn't leave till midnight.
This is her room, Tom.
Pardon us, Miss Madison?
Oh, we shouldn't wake her.
She's not here, Helen.
See? See, I told you!
Helen, look what I found on the carpet.
That's an unusual coin. What country do you think it's from?
It's not from a country, it's a Bitcoin. Miss Madison's got lots of them. She gave me one, see?
She gave you this?
Well, not exactly. I gave her $2.
Look at the design on it. There's a bee, but what are all these grooves in this unusual pattern?
Miss Madison says it's a chip for computers.
All right, that's enough of this fantasy. Bobby, go to bed.
But, Mom...
Go to bed.
Gee whiz.
I'm going to hang on to this coin, Helen, and see if I can find anything out about it. Meanwhile, I think you should stay away from this Miss Madison. I wouldn't want anything to happen to you.
Or happen to Bobby. Or happen to Bobby.
You can't protect him his whole life, Helen. At some point, he has to leave the nest.
He's 10.
The circus is always hiring.
Oh, hey, Helen! Helen! Yo, Helen!
Miss Madison, what are you doing here at my office? I was headed to lunch.
I gotta ask you something.
I only have 30 minutes for lunch. I really need to go. Oh, this elevator is too crowded. I'll take the service elevator.
I'll go with you.
All right, fine. What do you need to ask me?
Actually, it's my boss. He's on my ass about this. He wants me to exterminate, make sure no one knows about me.
Knows about you?
Well, like, has Bobby told you anything?
Oh, Bobby has such an active imagination.
So you didn't believe him?
Of course not.
That's not a good reflection of your parenting skills.
Really, Miss Madison, Bobby is...
Oh, just a sec. 4, 3, 2, 1, now! Why isn't it working?
Why isn't what working?
The elevator!
The elevator is working just fine.
Exactly! Why is the elevator working just fine?
I really don't...
There we go.
The elevator stopped. Hit the emergency call button.
That won't help. Everything has stopped. Cars, electrical turbines, toasters. Somewhere, there's a housewife trying to do laundry, and her clothes are stuck in the middle of the wash cycle, sopping wet and full of soap. Which happens to me every time I go to the laundromat. Of course I overfill the load. The wash cycle is expensive.
I don't understand.
I've stopped all electricity all over the world. Traffic is stopped on 1,000,000 streets. Electric clocks stopped at the dot of noon. Milkshake stopped bringing boys to the yard.
You did this?
Well, the technology I brought with me did. But don't worry, I'm not a total bitch. I made sure hospitals are still running and airplanes aren't dropping out of the sky. Oh, and hair dryers are still working. No woman deserves to suffer with limp, air-dried hair.
Why did you do this?
To demonstrate to the scientists of the world what we're capable of. I'm going to speak to them tonight. But here's the thing. I need you to keep my secret. Without cutting away to another scene, I could guess the military leaders of this country are pretty peeved right about now and probably want to kill me.
You don't know that.
Come on, Mrs. Crockett wanted to kill me. It's because people fear what they don't know.
So what are you going to do?
I'm going to give a warning to the planet so you all can fear what you do know.
This is so confusing.
Bottom line, my life is in your hands. And if I die, the world's gonna die. So, no pressure, but you gotta keep my secret or you're all dead.
Oh, the lights. We've started again.
Ah, it must be 12:30. Sorry, I just ate up your entire lunch break.
Where are you going now?
Back to the boarding house. I'll be safe there for the afternoon. And I'll be able to make sure that Bobby doesn't snitch, since he's the only other person who knows about me.
No, wait a minute. There's someone else. Tom. He was with me last night when Bobby told me what he saw.
Ugh, that guy's the type to take up 2 armrests in a movie theater. He's not considerate of your elbows, Helen. Not at all.
Oh, well, I'm sure he doesn't know anything definite and...
Death, Helen! Death!
We can't take a chance, can we?
Can you shut him up? Or do I need to take drastic measures with Gort? I can make it so Tom can't sit down till next July.
No, I think I can keep him from saying anything.
Okay, well, this needs to happen, now.
Oh, yes, right away. I'll go to his office.
The fate of the whole world is in the hands of a guy so full of himself, he'd sue his own twin for stealing his likeness.
Yes, Mr. Stevens?
Margaret, now, listen. Call the Pentagon and...
Benson's here to see you, sir.
Yeah, well, never mind. This is more important. Listen, now call the Pentagon and find out who's in charge of this spacewoman business.
Tom!
Margaret, call me as soon as you get the Pentagon and don't take any other calls.
What did you mean, more important?
I have got some pretty terrific news about your good friend, Miss Madison.
What about her?
She's the woman from the spaceship. I had that coin, or whatever it is, checked at 3 different places. No country on Earth's ever minted a coin like that. Not now, not anywhere throughout history. And after what Bobby's told us, that's enough for me.
All right, Tom, it's true. But you've got to promise me you won't say a word to anybody.
Nobody but the Pentagon.
Please, Tom.
Are you crazy? After what happened today? Why, just look at my face. My electric shaver stopped halfway through my shave.
Why didn't you finish the shave when the electricity came back?
That's not the point, Helen. I say she's dangerous, and it's our duty to turn her in.
She isn't dangerous. She told me what she came here for.
Don't be silly just because you happen to like the girl. Do you realize what this'll mean for us? I'll be the biggest man in the country. I'll write my own ticket.
Is that what you're thinking about?
The Pentagon is on the line, sir.
Tom, you don't know what you're doing. It isn't just you and Miss Madison. It's everybody. The rest of the world is involved.
I don't give a hang about the rest of the world. I'm in this for me. You'll feel different when you see my picture in the papers. You're gonna marry a hero.
I'm not going to marry anybody. And you've never once shared the armrest. Miss Madison! Miss Madison, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up? What did Tom say?
You were right about him.
Douche nozzles transcend time and space.
We have to hurry. I've got a taxi outside.
Damn it! I knew I should have let Gort zap him.
Where to?
To the spaceship in the park, driver. And hurry.
The spaceship, huh? I don't know what you ladies expect to see there. The whole area is blocked off by military vehicles.
Too bad the president didn't declare it a natural disaster area. They'd pull the government support in a second.
I think we may have been seen getting into the taxi.
What makes you say that?
We're being followed by an army car.
There's military vehicles all over the place.
You can't possibly get close to the spaceship now with all those troops in full gear.
Tom spread the word like a celebrity death on Facebook.
It's only a few more blocks to Professor Barnhart's. We should take you there.
Little worried about Gort. I'm afraid of what he might do if something should happen to me.
Gort? But he's a robot.
He's a product of centuries of refinement. There's no limit to what he could do. He could destroy the Earth. If no one has tipped him over again.
And the city is swarming with patrol cars hunting you. How can we tell them?
Like they're gonna listen to 2 women? Look, if anything happens to me, you gotta get to Gort. You gotta give him this message. Gort, Madison, Barada, Nikto. Okay? Gort, Madison, Barada, Nikto. Say it back to me.
Gort, Madison, Barada, Madison, Barada,
Nikto! Gort, Madison, Barada, Nikto.
Maybe I should send the taxi driver. Without GPS, he's actually navigating this entire city through memory.
Okay, ladies, this is as far as we go. They got the street blockaded.
The spaceship isn't very far. Why don't you try to run for it?
Why don't you run the other direction and draw their fire?
I have a son.
You're not gonna have a son much longer if the world blows up.
Ladies, that'll be $2.50.
All right, I'm gonna make a run for it. But you gotta cover the cab fare.
There she is. Stop or we'll fire.
Ah! Shot twice in one episode. Oh, this sucks.
Miss Madison!
Gort! Get...
Yes, I'll get to Gort, I promise.
No! Get the taxi driver to Gort! Man, if she says it wrong, Gort may destroy the Earth. Or deliver Kung Pao chicken to the wrong address.
Madison, Barada, Nikto. Madison, Barada, Nikto. Madison, oh no. Gord must know that Miss Madison is dead. He's headed straight for those armed soldiers.
I've been shot in the... Ow!
He's getting ready to shoot again. No, Gord, no!
Fall back! Fall back! We're under attack! Under attack!
Gord! Madison! Madison, Barada, Nikto! Where am I?
Oh, hey, Helen. Sup?
I thought you were...
Dead? Yeah, I was as dead as my Furby when my brother ripped all the fur off of it. That Furby looked like what the Terminator fears in his nightmares.
But that doesn't explain how you're not, dead.
Oh, well, they had me halfway to the morgue when Gort caught up with me and brought me back here. I got this technique that could restore life and reduce fine lines and wrinkles.
That's amazing.
I know, but in some cases, it's only for a limited time.
How long do you have?
No one can tell. Like, look, I'm already getting crow's feet.
I mean, how long will you be alive?
Oh, that. Hopefully long enough for me to give my spiel to the scientists. Otherwise, I have no idea how long any of you will be alive. Thanks, Gort. He says Professor Barnhart's scientists are ready.
I'll go outside and find a seat. Good luck.
Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. I'll be fine, Gord. But be prepared to destroy all of mankind if there's any sign of trouble. Or if I flub a line. That's so embarrassing, I'd want all witnesses destroyed. Okay, Gort, go on.
You, people of Earth, you, men of science, you here from all over your world, Europe, Asia, representing many nations, many ideas. Please put your hands together for the woman who's going to save this planet from total annihilation, Miss Madison!
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. So good to be here. Okay, let's get down to basics. Humanity. You guys war a lot. Like, a lot. And that's fine. You do you. But see, now you have nukes, and the rest of the universe is not okay with that. Nobody's saying you have to give up your freedom to kill each other. We're not coming for your guns. But you are going to be patrolled by a race of robots to make sure that you keep all your wars to yourselves. At the first sign of threat outside of your own atmosphere, these robots are going to drop kick this planet into the next solar system. No regime change, y'all be toast. You got it? Come on, Gort, let's hit it. Peace or perish! Bye!
And as they had seen her come, so did they see her depart. And the people of the earth pondered upon the warning.
But as we all know, decades passed and the arms race got worse. And WMDs became the excuse to launch wars. So, nice try, space people. No one's gonna force us to have peace. Oh, what's that you got over there? Enriched uranium? Bring it. The original film, The Day the Earth Stood Still, premiered in 1951 and was adapted for the Lux Radio Theater in 1954, where Michael Rennie recreated his role of the spaceman Klaatu. The movie is considered one of the best science fiction films of all time, with the phrase Klaatu Barada Nikto being the most referenced quote of all of sci-fi. Besides the Lux Radio Theater's adaptation, the film would be published as a novel in 1976, and Keanu Reeves would star as Klaatu in the 2008 film remake. From an era that was filled with science fiction and reaction to the Cold War and the new atomic age, The Day the Earth Stood Still remains a cautionary tale about war and a warning to choose peace.
Stick around after the credits for a brief message from some of our favorite podcasters, creators, and friends. There may even be some bloopers, outtakes, and bonus content as well.
Madison on the Air was written and produced by Chrisi Talyn Saje with music composition and audio engineering by Jeremy Sage. The role of Madison Standish was played by Chrisi Talyn Saje. Helen Benson was played by Chelsea Greer, and Bobby Benson was played by Jamie Forney. Other members of the cast were Stephen Junn as Tom Stevens, Julie Hoverson as Mrs. Crockett, David Pinion as Mr. Harley, Scott R. McKinley as Professor Barnhart, Paul Arbisi as the taxi driver, James C. Taylor as the newscaster and Brady, Jerry Kokich as the army officer, Sharon Gruenwald as Hilda and Margaret, Rob Scheimer as the guard and Soldier 2, Jeremy Sage as Soldier 1 and Gort, and Edward October was our narrator.
You have been listening to Octoberpod. Octoberpod is produced, edited, and directed by Edward October. The series co-producers are Amber Jourdan, Whitney Zahar, and producer emeritus MJ McAdams. Additional audio engineering for select segments provided by Kevin of Straight Line Creative. Logo and banner graphics by Jessica Good. Edward October character design by Nick Calavera. Select stock photography and illustrations courtesy of unsplash.com. Thorax, theme from Octoberpod, and Overture from Bigfoot Apocalypse, composed and performed by Nico Vitezi. Select music and FX cues courtesy of freesound.org. All other stock photography, illustrations, music, and FX cues, except where noted, are derived from Creative Commons sources or from sources and recordings within the public domain. All stories, essays, scripts, and audio plays performed on Octoberpod AM or Octoberpod Home Video are the intellectual property of their creators. Octoberpod retains the rights to the resultant audio productions and related promotional materials. Any content produced by Octoberpod may not be sold and distributed outside of Octoberpod or used to train AI models without the express written permission of the content owners. Octoberpod was conceived and performed in its entirety by real human creators. Generative AI was not used to produce Octoberpod, and it never will be. For business inquiries or story submissions, email octoberpod@gmail.com. Follow us on the dumpster fire formerly known as Twitter at OctoberpodVHS, on Instagram at OctoberpodVHS, on Blue Sky at octoberpod.bsky.social, or on the World Wide Web at octoberpodvhs.com. The man who spoke to you was Mr. Edward October.
There are stories that keep you up at night.
And then there are stories you text your best friend about immediately.
Welcome to Three Spook Girls, where true crime, paranormal, and the downright unexplainable
all get the group chat treatment.
Every week we dive into real cases,
haunted places,
urban legends,
and over-the-top creepy Reddit stories.
We're talking about all of it, but not in a scary alone-in-the-dark way.
More like you're sitting on the couch with your best friends.
New episodes air every Thursdays and Sundays everywhere you get your podcasts.
And be sure to check out our second show, Social Séance Society, airs every Wednesday when we're in season.
Looking for your next true crime podcast? Then consider checking out my show, Truly Twisted, wherever you get your podcasts. Hi, my name is Alicia Watson, and each Thursday I will be bringing you a twisted story that is always victim-focused and fact-based. My goal is simple, bringing a voice to the voiceless. So be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at It's Truly Twisted. And for more on my show and other amazing creators, visit fireeyesmedia.com. And in the meantime, remember, you are wanted, you are loved, and you deserve to be here. And I'll see you there.
Are you looking for a new podcast to listen to?
why not try Tis Yourself? Hosted by me, Nicola Barton, I interview your favourite TV stars from shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Friends, The OC, Scrubs, EastEnders, and many, many more. The likes of Tate Donovan told me about dating Jennifer Aniston, or what Matthew Perry was like on set, and you'll want to hear what Dan Florrick had to say about SVU. So come find Tis Yourself. It is the best new podcast you've never heard of.
The following is a presentation. The following is a presentation of Anthological. Now the alternate intro ends, and we have the shared content starting right here. They probably share the same music sting that closes this intermission shit out. But today, I'd like you to listen to the planes. Between the act. All right, we're gonna get Adam to do this, but just in case, let me try my own. Just so that we have a record of Edward October's Peter Cushing impersonation. And what utter shit it is, I give you this. Now, to get into character as Peter Cushing, I have to do his Star Wars line. You may fire when ready. All right, that's me. Since Helen passed on, I can't find anything. The heart, quite simply, has gone out of everything. Time is interminable. The loneliness is almost unbearable. And the only thing that keeps me going is the knowledge that my dear Helen and I will be reunited again someday. To join Helen is my only ambition. You have my permission to publish that. Really, you know, dear boy, it's all just killing time. Please say that. And scene.
Yeah, see what you can do with that.
They know. There will come an airplane, hallelujah, what an airplane. There will come an airplane when I record the pod. Why? Well, now. As you can see, poetic justice with its rose. You can just keep doing that. So I got a plane, I have a laptop exhaust fan. Get the total package. I'm Lex Luger, motherfucker. Does anybody remember Lex Luger? Total package, Lex Luger from NWA, WCW. All right, anyway. Dun 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 dun.